Yeah, I mean, I was reading through your comments before we got cracking, and there was one comment that really stood out to me, and it was from Philip McWilliam. How are you, Philip? Said, not sure how I feel about yesterday. Delighted with the result, or shocked by how we got comprehensively outplayed. I think I'm kind of somewhere along there with you, Philip. Very grateful for the result, but usually you win 1-0 away from home in the first leg, and you'd be full of confidence for the second leg. And I am confident, but you got to say they were a danger. They were a danger, and we need to be aware of that. We're going to need to be far, far better at Anfield. But there's two ways of looking at this. Yes, we can talk about the sheer amount of opportunities that they had, but they didn't find a breakthrough. And, that's not our fault. That's not your fault. That's down to Alisson Becker and their poor finish. And somebody else actually put up the stats from the Champions League final we played against Real Madrid as well, where, we comprehensively outplayed them. 20-something shots to their 3, and we lost the game 1-0. So I guess it swings and roundabouts. And one thought that popped into my head before we get stuck into tonight's news was the Ibrahima Konate incident. After Rio Ferdinand had wet himself on TNT Sports and Paul Merson was wetting himself in the Sky Sports studios, it kind of got me thinking. They're all very ballsy moaning about Konate's push, but I don't remember the same uproar when Konate was pushed against Everton. It's weird, isn't it? It's like one push all of a sudden wants immediate red cards, but the other one, we didn't get anything there, so maybe Lady Luck was repaying us for Konate getting pushed. I like Konate's response to it, by the way. He said, I'm a strong fella, and if I really wanted to push him, it would have been a lot worse. So I'm kind of paraphrasing there, but that's kind of where Ebu was going with it. But yeah, that thought about my mind as well. We felt hard done by against Everton. I know I certainly did over the push for Konate. So maybe Lady Luck was just repaying us last night. James Bond said, got to give PSG a lot of credit. Much better than I thought. Well, I expected it to be difficult. But I agree with you. They were probably a little bit better than I was expecting as well. You can see the stark difference, though, in a team that's hungry, young, and full of confidence against, the old Galacticos kind of Neymar, Messi, Mbappe, that kind of era of PSG. They had a lot more about them last night, and I think if I was a PSG fan, I'd be very upbeat about the future, because if they can keep going like that, they will be a genuine threat and could win a Champions League someday. I just hope it's not this season. PSG were very good, said Red. It was a smash and grab from us. It was, but you also have to credit, I guess, our defensive resilience in the game, as well as Alisson Becker's brilliance in goal. It was good to see Peter Schmeichel giving him his props as well, saying it's one of, if not the best goalkeeper performance he's ever seen. And it's a fair shout. I mean, 9 big saves, I think, in there for Ali last night. Alisson Becker, by the way, has made it into the Champions League Team of the Week. I'm sure you've probably seen it, but in case you haven't, it's Alisson Becker, then it's Timber from Arsenal at right back, De Kuyper from Brugge at left back, centre back pairing of Emre Can and Pavard of Inter, then midfield Pedri, Rodgers and Odegaard of Arsenal, up top Rodrigo, through the centre Harry Kane, and left Rafinha. That was the Champions League Team of the Week. Only stat that matters is who won. Absolutely. I agree with you. And it just shows why football is such a mad game. You don't always get what you deserve in a game of football, but we took our chance last night, and it was a lovely moment for Harvey Elliott. Delighted for him. And of course, delighted for Darwin as well. We wouldn't have got that goal if Darwin hadn't have persevered and squared the ball across. Did you see what VVD said to Luis Campos at half-time, had him rattled? I didn't see that, but I did see Luis Campos was having a go at the referee. I'd seen that one all right, running down there. I wonder, would he get a 2-game ban and a 70 grand fine, or does that only apply to our managers? Even though he's not a manager, but you get my point. Would I start Darwin against PSG? No, I wouldn't. I would go Gakpo, Diaz, Salah for the second leg. But Darwin would be there if we need to stretch the game or do something. Because what Darwin showed last night was when he's on form and when he's up for it, he stretches defenders. He gives them something to worry about. And he gave us something last night that Diogo couldn't, which was an aerial option, which you can see from the way he set up the goal as well. So, yeah, I think I'd probably go with the front 3 I mentioned. That's, of course, if Gakpo's fit and available at that point. Naturalist said, think we need a few more physically strong players. In the last few games, we've not fared well against bigger, faster, stronger teams. Well, I wouldn't say that PSG were much bigger than us, but faster, yes. They did to us what we've done to so many teams. They swarmed all over us, and it was horrible to look at. And I wonder if this is how opposition teams feel when Liverpool are at their best. But they were very, very good, but they didn't find the breakthrough. And we know one thing: keep a clean sheet on Tuesday night, and we're in the quarter-final. And I gotta be honest with you, I fancy us doing Villa if they get to the quarters. I'm way more concerned about the second leg against PSG than I would be about 2 legs against Villa, even though the second leg will be at Villa Park. I just think over the course of 2 legs we'll have their number. And then, sure, then you're into semi-final land. And it's either going to be one of the Madrid clubs or Arsenal. How is it fair the second leg's at Villa? What's the point of winning the group stage? Well, we won. We got the second leg at home in the last 16. And we'd have the second leg at home in the semi-final. So, 2 out of the 3 knockout rounds there, you'd be at home for the second leg. And I'll take that, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm not too displeased about that. Villa will be a difficult quarter-final, but I'd rather have the semi-final second leg at home than the quarters, because, it's a massive affair and you're going to be playing a very tough opponent. Somebody complained about too many changes to your starting lineup, but I agree with you, except maybe Salah instead of Chiesa. So, in the video where I said my reasoning was, I want Mo rested for PSG. It's as simple as that. When I did my starting 11 prediction for the game, I'll run through it really quickly for people in the chat who may not have watched the video yet. I went Alisson, Trent, Kwanzaa, Virgil, Costas, Endo, Jones, Elliott, Chiesa, Darwin, and Diaz. And I think I'm justified in doing that. And I'd love to see Arne Slot do that, because PSG on Tuesday night is going to be a tough game. We've seen how fatigued some of the boys looked last night. I don't see what good rinsing them and playing them again on Saturday would do. And quite frankly, the team I've just mentioned, if they can't beat Southampton, then some of them shouldn't be at Liverpool Football Club. So I would say make the changes, keep some of the big players on the bench. But, it is Southampton. They are where they are for a reason. So you would hope that Liverpool can do a job on them, even with a much changed team. Some words from Luis Enrique, the Paris Saint-Germain manager. This is what he had to say about the second leg. He said, second leg at Anfield, we'll go there and show ourselves to be a team that deserves to go through, that knows how to play. We've got nothing to lose. And he's kind of right. They do have nothing to lose, and they will come and have a go. But if we can get an early goal, that would make a huge difference to this second leg. But most importantly, we are going to have to be a lot more physical than we were in the first leg. A lot more combative, a lot more energetic, just a lot more everything in a lot of areas. Because if we play like we did in Paris, we won't get as lucky again. Craig, do we go with 4 midfielders against PSG? Not if Gakpo's fit. If Gakpo's fit, I'd put Gakpo left, Diaz centre, and Salah right. But I could see the argument if you wanted to put Jones in there as well alongside the 3 lads, because we need to find a way to keep a lot more of the ball at home, and our intensity needs to be a lot higher. There was also a marked difference in how we defended last night. If you looked at the game, it was like we were intentionally dropping off, which can be a recipe for disaster if you have the likes of Ousmane Dembele running at you. But it definitely looked like we were defending more passively on occasion last night, making them make decisions rather than, I guess, pressing ahead. I've seen a couple of people talk about it. Haven't watched the game back last night without commentary, by the way, because I'm not sitting through Rio Ferdinand's drivel. And by the way, he must have been really bad. I haven't heard it because I watched the games on silent, but I've been on a lot of platforms over the last 12 hours or so, and the amount of grief that TNT Sport are getting for Rio Ferdinand's commentary and how biased and poor it was, I hope they pay attention, because it's starting to become a little bit irritating now, having to listen to Neville or now Rio Ferdinand or others. And from what people are saying to me, it almost sounded like Ferdinand was overly excited at the possibility of PSG winning, overly critical when Konate was not given the red card, and overly silent after Liverpool had scored. And it's not just Liverpool fans that were saying it, by the way. Lots of people just said, I don't understand why he's on comms. You know? Is it pundit? Okay, fair enough. But on comms? I mean, not for me anyway.